It's time to turn your life-challenging moments into life-changing messages. Welcome to the Power Lift Stories podcast, where we are interviewing women whose stories will leave you lifted up, fired up, and fueled up with hope, courage, and inspiration. We want to thank our sponsor, Powerful Journey, who helps women tell their stories, write their books, and building a profitable brand around both. Join the masterclass or the Speakers Academy at phyllisjenkins.com. That is PHYLLISJENKINS.com. Now here's your host, Phyllis Jenkins.
Is this the year that you will tell your story? Is this the year that you will write your book? Hi, I'm Phyllis Jenkins, your book coach and founder of the Powerful Journey organization and our Writers Journey members community has kicked off and is going so very well, and you still have time to jump in. So if you are ready to tell your story, write your book, then look at the link below and be sure to register for the Authors Academy that will start in a few months, or you can register for the Writer's Journey. Either way it goes, you will have a manuscript where your book will be ready to be published. We'll take that manuscript, get it published into a book so that you can get your very important message out, and it will impact the lives of others for generations and generations to come. Speaking of stories, we're about to jump into our interview with today's guest. Her name is Joyce Brown, and you are going to love our interview. Stay tuned. Welcome, Joyce.
Thank you, Phyllis. I'm so happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. And some of you know that I did this thing back in November, and it was fulfilling a childhood dream of mine to compete in the Miss Texas Senior America pageant. Well, that is where I met this beautiful sister, Joyce Brown. And let me just read some of her bio. You know, normally I don't read, but this is so good, I don't want to miss it. And so in 2019, at the age of 63, Joyce became the title holder of the Miss Texas Senior America pageant. The pageant champions healthy aging, wellness, and mental well-being. The contestants exemplify positive imaging of aging, and that she does so well. Joyce holds a BS degree in electrical engineering technology, and she recently retired from Abbott Laboratories after 30 years of service. Oh my goodness, congratulations to that, Joyce.
Thank you.
At age 59, Joyce decided to define age 60 for herself and not let the age of 60 define her. I love that. Mm-hmm. Joyce became serious about working out and completely changed her eating habits. She started attending a boot camp class 4 to 5 times a week and became stronger. Joyce began losing weight, and in 4 months, listen at this, she had lost 30 pounds and was in the best shape of her life. The transformation was phenomenal, and she became a role model for others, I'm sure many, many others. And she continues to work out now, eat healthy, and inspire others. Joyce became a certified health coach, and the certification supports her platform of health and fitness. I'm going to skip around some because I'm going to let Joyce fill in anything that I leave out. After winning the title of Miss Texas Senior, Joyce accomplished many firsts, including motivational speaker, interviews. She was featured on the cover of Celebration and Crown magazine. She is a board member of the United Way of Denton and a published author of 2 books. She's a co-author of 2 books, one being a bestseller. She launched her own website, electronic magazine, Learn to Tap Dance. I love that, Joyce. And became a member of the Dazzlers, which performs with spectacular follies and others. In other words, they tap dance. Uh-huh. After that, Joyce has tremendously improved the box that she had created for herself. She kicked open that box and is continuing to stretch herself in ways that she never could have imagined, while now living her very best life. Joyce, again, welcome. It was an honor for me to read all of these great accolades of yours. And is there anything else that I left off? Because I know that you are a wife, a mother, and a grandmother.
Yeah, so I've been married for almost 38 years. I have 2 grown daughters. I have 2 grandkids, and truly, life is just really good for me. I'm just really am living my best life. So yeah, that's pretty much about it.
Love that. Love it. Well, let's go directly into our interview. My first question for you is, if you were to give your story or your life challenging story a title, what would that title be and why?
So I think that my life title would be, if you want to live your best life, you got to step outside your comfort zone. And I choose that title because that's what happened to me. I had, and I think a lot of us, create a box for ourselves. No one put me in that box. It's a box that I created for myself. And I set limitations on what I could accomplish. And a lot of it is I have been conditioned to see myself in certain ways. And so I just saw myself in, one dimension. And that was, I worked all my life. I was a mother, a wife, and, those things that so many of us are challenges that we face. But I didn't see myself as participating in a pageant. I didn't see myself tap dancing after the age of 60. So all of these firsts that you just read for me that occurred after the age 60, I didn't see any of that happening. In fact, for me, at 59, when I started looking at retiring, I didn't know what that would look like. And I kept working for another 2 years, I think, because I didn't know what I would do after I retired. I had no hobbies. I had no goals. I just didn't know what to do with myself because my life had become defined by my family and career. And so it was very refreshing for me to finally decide that I was going to define 60 for me. And that's what started it, because I needed to define it and I had no vision of what it was going to look like. I couldn't imagine what that would be, but I just started one thing at a time and I started building blocks on top of, all of my little accomplishments. And so now here I am, and I look back at it and hearing what you read is really, I'm shocked myself because I know the slate that in the place where I started from. So that would be my title, is that we have got to kick open that box for us that we created for ourselves. And because we're so much more than what we think we are.
Absolutely. And for those of you who are listening to what Joyce just said, especially if you are a female in your 60s and you have defined yourself by your family and by your career, listen at what Joyce did and take notes from it, because you're not here today just to be listening. You are here to walk away with some valuable tips to cause you to move to action. So as we continue this interview, take notes of what Joyce is saying and make sure that you too are ready to kick open that box that so many of us put ourselves in. You notice she said she put herself in it. And that's what happened so many times. We put ourselves into that box. We step into that box and we stay there, letting the world dictate to us what we should do. But she did not do that. So Joyce, as you continued to define 60 for yourself, just talk about what that looked like more for you, that process.
I think the very first thing that occurred for me is I spent a lot of my 50s overweight. And so I was probably, like you said, I was really 50 pounds heavier than I am now. And so during that time, I really began, and I want to say a lot of negative talk about myself. And I was trying to lose the weight. I couldn't lose the weight. I would lose the weight a little bit and then I would gain it all back. Then I would lose and gain it back. So finally, at 60, when I decided that I didn't know what it was going to look like, weight was part of my challenge for me. And so I decided that after yo-yo dieting for about a decade, that I was going to be committed, no more excuses. I wasn't going to let birthday parties and, all of these opportunities that we get together to eat. I wasn't going to let that define me anymore or sabotage my goals. And so I began to take a real deep look at who Joyce was and what I wanted to accomplish. And I began to set those little goals for myself. And so once I was able to lose first the 20 pounds and then another 30 pounds, and I felt better about myself than I ever had in my life. And I knew that I had reached a point in my life where, I needed to do something because time is running out. At 60, you have a whole lot more years behind you than what you do in front of you. So I knew that there was a sense of urgency that I wanted to be able to do some things, and I didn't know what it looked like. I said. So what I did was I knew that I had a new sense of confidence. I had more energy than what I had. I was looking at retirement. And so I said, you know what? Do they have pageants out there for women over 60? I don't know if they do or not. And so I went out there and I saw that, and I started just looking on the internet. Thank God for the internet. Because when I did that, then I found out about the pageant. And so I decided that I was going to enter it. I wasn't a pageant girl. I had worked in technology forever. And so for me to enter into a pageant, I haven't thought, it's like, do they even have those anymore? I don't know. But anyway, so I found out about the pageant and I decided to enter it. And when I did, I discovered something about myself that I hadn't known. Well, I say I didn't know. However, I think we all have deep guarded secrets, things that we could see ourselves doing, but we could never imagine ourselves doing. And that was what a pageant represented for me, because I wasn't that person that was always out in front. I wasn't that person that was, ooh, let me do it. It's like, I'm willing to help, but let me stay in the background. So I had to really push myself outside of my comfort zone. And that's where it really started for me, by saying yes to something that pretty much terrified me. But I said that I'm not going to let that, consume me. And I decided that that I was going to go for it, and I did. And the first year I did it, I mean, I didn't win, didn't place, and that was okay. But I had accomplished something I had never done before. I learned a talent. I had, I was up on stage by myself, competing in front of people, which always terrified me. So I really had done something I never imagined myself doing. And I went back the second year, won the pageant, and the rest is history. I mean, after that, I still get intimidated by things even now, but I've learned to say yes. And I think that God presents so many opportunities to us, and we just have to have the faith in Him, not in me, in Him, to say, you know what? Yes, I can do this. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And how have you seen God move through your experiences since you kicked open that box?
oh my gosh, He has just opened so many doors. I think that everything I've accomplished, I give Him all the glory for that.
Mhm.
because I know that me and my own self, my own flesh, I just couldn't accomplish those things on my own. But I know that because I had faith in him and I was able to say yes, that I was able to exceed any expectations that I might have had or things that I could do on my own. So that's what I've really learned how to do now is when somebody presents an opportunity to me, rather than saying, I can't do that, and I've done that so many times and I still do it now, I remember that there's somebody bigger than me who says I can.
Wonderful. And
Mhm.
that message is for someone listening today.
Mhm.
You have been presented with an opportunity, one that you can't even imagine why they ask you. But Joyce and I are saying, why not you?
Mhm.
If God allowed that opportunity to come to you, then he's able to provide what is needed for you to step out and to do that, whatever that thing is. And Joyce, I love that we are interviewing this, recording this in January, because so
Oh
many
yeah.
people have made goals, New Year's resolution goals, and this is mid-January,
Mhm.
and some might feel like I've already failed, but no, you haven't. You still have time, no matter what month it is, to start over again and to
Mhm.
keep trying. You never fail until you give up.
And I really feel that failure, I mean, we most people look at failure as something negative. I think failure is an opportunity to teach us something. You know,
Mhm.
we're always learning, and sometimes we have to learn through failures that occur in our lives as well. So, you know, failure is
Absolutely.
not a bad thing. Hmm.
Yeah. Failure can be just, well, I now know this way won't work. So
Right.
let's move to the next. So very good. Joyce, you just stood on stage, shared your platform message. And as far as you could see in the audience, there was a sea of women standing there. You've ended your message. You've gotten a standing ovation. They stood to their feet. Yes, ma'am. And they gave you a standing ovation, but now they have turned to walk away to go to their vehicles. The curtains close, and Joyce prepares to walk to her vehicle. What are three lessons that you hope every person walked away with?
I would hope they would know that God is in control of each of us and that we weren't put here on this earth just by chance. We all have a purpose, and we have to find out what that purpose is and live in that purpose. Um, so I think that I would encourage everybody to find out or really lean on him. I think that's the biggest message is lean on him and know that you're not just here to live a mediocre life, that you're here for a purpose. You were created for a purpose. And so, you know, they need to realize that. The other thing is, um, I think that I really want people to know that they truly are good enough. You know,
Mhm.
sometimes we
That's
have that
good.
negative mental talk about ourselves and we think that, oh yeah, but I can't do that because I'm not good enough or I don't have the skills to do that or whatever. But you really do. Now, you may have to go and work to find those skills. You may have to learn some things to be able to, you know, perform at a level that you want to be able to. You may need some training or whatever, like I did in the pageant. I mean, the first year I was in the pageant, I didn't win, didn't place, and that was okay, but I still felt so good about what I did. Nobody was able to take away the successes that I had. So I just want people to know that God has given us everything we need to be successful, but it's up to us to go and um, cultivate those things and improve upon those things and make sure that, you know, we're ready when the opportunity comes along. And even if you're not ready, it's okay. Like I said, failure for me is not a negative thing. I'm always learning. And when I didn't win that pageant the first year, oh my gosh, my head was held up so high. And of course I was a little disappointed, but I learned so much about Joyce. So, you know, sometimes, man, don't let other people define who you are, or other people say, yeah, you're good enough or you're not good enough. You need to know that because you are God's child, you're absolutely good enough. And then I think the third thing I would say is don't be afraid to think outside the box. Again, we all put ourselves in these little boxes that we create for ourselves. And it's time for us to work outside that box. I want people to begin to dream about things that they've thought and that they've seen themselves doing maybe when they were younger. And then it's not too late. Continue to dream. Even though I'm 60, I don't know, am I 65? I continue to dream. I continue to set goals for myself and have ideas of things that I can do. And like I said, not because Joyce is so great, but because I serve a God that's so great.
Amen.
So those are the things that I would want people to do, is to just know that, remember, is to just know that they have more to offer than what they think they do. And so if they do that, then I think in my heart, I think that they really can begin to live their best life.
I love that and totally agree. And we're both 65 and we are both still dreaming. We are still, not only are we dreaming, but we're going after those dreams. And so for those of you who are listening today, whether you are in your 60s, your 40s, your 80s, we still say continue to dream and continue to go after what God has placed inside of you. You're never too young and you're never too old. Joyce, we know that you are a motivational speaker, that you have authored some books. How can our audience contact you and even purchase the books?
Yeah, so my website is, my email address is jabrown2117@gmail.com. So yeah, that's the best way to contact me at this point.
Very good. Very good. Well, thank you again for coming on today and giving hope, inspiration, and encouragement to our listeners. And we just continue to pray God's blessings on all that He has in store for you to do, Joyce.
Okay. Thank you, Phyllis. And again, thank you for having me. God bless you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you for joining us today. If you are interested in being on the show, go to phyllisjenkins.com. You can also sign up for the Powerful Journey Masterclass or the Speakers Academy at phyllisjenkins.com.